Hello and welcome to my reading log for June 2023. In this video I'm going to go over everything that I read in the month of June. This video was meant to come out last week, but my haul had to come out last week because stuff was late arriving, so this is now coming out this week, and that PlayStation game's upside down and it's annoying me. I'm going to have to sort that out in a bit. Anyway, I'm going to go over everything that I read in June, and I read a total of 27 volumes, not counting omnibuses. If you did count omnibus, it will be like 29, but I think there's only like 2 omnibuses here. I don't know if John Gito counts, but about 29 if you count the omnibuses separate, but I don't, so about 27, I think. Anyway, let's get in to the reading log. And the first thing I read this month on the 1st and the 2nd, it took me 2 days to read this one. So I read half on the 1st, half on the 2nd. And that is Happy of the End, Volume 1. This is a BL by Kuma. I don't know if Volume 2 is the final volume or Volume 2 is just like caught up with Japan. But this is by the same author as Escape Journey and Bitch Club, Ogasetsu Tanaka. And this is like a dark BL about this guy who's like, he's got no place to go, he's in debt. He ends up getting kidnapped by this guy and then beaten up and left, but then he comes back and he decides to live with him. So now these two are living together, but they both seem to have like dark pasts and stuff. And from what I read this like ages ago, and I'm trying to remember everything. But yeah, I remember thinking it was alright. It was decent, and I'm gonna pick up Volume 2, especially if it's the final one. But yeah, it's like a dark BL, so like a lot of dark subject matter in this one. So yeah, if you're interested in like darker BL or Ogetsu Tanaka stuff, I would recommend you maybe give this one a go. I think the second thing that I read this month on the 3rd was... oh yeah, I gave that one about a 6. It's Volume 20 of Red River, and I'm slowly making my way through this series. I've only got like 8 volumes left to read. I try to get 1 read a month, although I didn't manage last month. I got 20 read this month, and Red River continues to be good. It's like a historical shoujo isekai from the 90s, where we follow Yori, who is isekai'd into the ancient Mesopotamia in the Hittite, I think it's pronounced, civilization, where she meets Prince Kyle, who's one of the candidates for the throne. And he says he's going to help Yuri get home, but then there's the Taiwanana, I think it's pronounced, and she is like the queen, and she wants her son to be on the throne, so the reason she's the one who summoned Yuri into this world, so she could use Yuri in a spell that would kill all of the princes other than her own son. So now Kyle also has to protect her because his own life will also be in danger if Yuri gets caught, but yeah. And this volume's set in Egypt. I won't say why they're in Egypt. That'll be spoilers, because this is 20 volumes into the series, and yeah, big spoilers. Obviously. But yeah, this volume is in Egypt, and there's some more scheming going on. Nakaba's doing the usual. So yeah, I am still very enjoying Red River. It's a great series if you can get a hold of it, because it is severely out of print. I was lucky enough to find a good deal for this series. But this really does need either a reprint or to be put on like the app that Viz has just brought out. This definitely needs some easier way to like access and read it, because it is a very good series. Now for the next 3 days I kind of went on a bit of a dog manga binge. On the 4th of June, I read the 11th volume was Baka. This is another one where I try to read 1 volume a month. I have the first 14 volumes There was 17 released in English. I haven't been able to find 15, 16 and 17 yet, but the series was discontinued after that, but it is complete in Japan at 22 volumes, so they never printed the last 5 in English. But this is a manga about this girl on the cover. Her name is... what is her name again? Tsurugi. And she's 18 and she's just left home with her dog Rupin. But she's from a bit of a rich family and she doesn't really know much about the world. So she's quite naive. And when she was a little girl, she was kidnapped and Rupin's grandfather rescued her. And so she wears the collar of Rupin's grandfather around her neck constantly. Anyway, she ends up in Tokyo and she meets this guy called Teppy when Rupin mounts his dog, who is in season because he was trying to breed her. And obviously, if Noah, the dog's called her, she's a black Labrador and he wants to have purebred Labrador puppies with her. But obviously, Rupin is a mongrel. He is not a purebred. He's not like a purebred. So if she ended up getting pregnant with Rupin's puppies, then he would be in trouble because he would lose money on them. And so, yeah, in order to like make up for this, Tsurugi has to start working at his pet shop called Wuffles, where she looks after all the puppies and learns more about the dogs and stuff. It's a very cute dog manga, and the dogs are drawn very, very cutely. There's a tiny bit of fan service because this is a seinen and it did come out, I think, in the 90s. But it's not enough to take away from the story. It's only in like occasional like panty shots and stuff like that. Yeah, but the puppies in this are drawn super cute. And this volume's like the stories in this are quite episodic, so sometimes they'll stretch over multiple volumes, and the main concentrated story on this one is there's a rival pet shop opened up and they're like competing with them, and that's like the main story in this one. But the dogs are always drawn very cute. So I really like this series, and I will be trying to find those last 3 volumes that were released in English. Oh yeah, there was also a second storyline in this one about dog dancing, where you dance with your dog. So the first storyline was the rival pet shop, and the second storyline's dancing with dogs. So she's trying to train Rupin in dog dancing, and that storyline will continue into volume 12. So yeah, both Red River I give an 8, and this one I give a 7. Next up, I read Shibanban Super Cute Doggies, and this is based off in Japan there's this like app called Line, which is like not very social media, more like a texting app, similar to like WhatsApp or something like that, I'm pretty sure. And Line has stickers, and these are the stickers from the Shiba Inu stickers from Line, and this is a manga based around them. But it doesn't really have much of a story to it. It's just like, it's a 4-koma, and you get little 4-koma comics about the dogs just doing weird stuff, and it was alright. Obviously, it's a dog manga, so I picked it up, and it was very cute, but it's not the best thing ever. But this is aged just 10 plus, so this is appropriate for children if you want a good manga to give to a child. But the next one I read is also rated 8 years and up, and I think that one is a better manga. So yeah, this was cute. It was just a one-shot, which I'm glad about, because if it was more than 1 volume, I probably would have just stopped here. So yeah, I gave this like a 5 because the dogs were cute, but not very much going on. And next up, the final dog manga that I read. I gave this one, I think, a 7 or an 8. And that is Lovely Muko Volume 1, and this is based around this dog. She's supposed to be an Akita. She looks more like a Shiba. Right, Muko is an actual real life dog, and she lives with her owner, who is a glass blower called Mr. Komatsu. So this dog and this person are actually a real person and a real dog, and he is a glass blower. The stories featured in this are fictional. These stories didn't actually happen. The characters are based off real people, but these stories and events are fictional. So we have, obviously this is from the point of view of Muko, and just her adventures with her master in this like little country village as he does his job, and Muko just gets up to dog stuff. But these are like also episodic like chapters, but I actually preferred this one a lot more than Shibanban. I thought it was more amusing. Like, Muko's quite cute. Like, she's drawn in quite a funny sort of cute way. So yeah, I thought this one was really good. And again, this is another one would be a good manga to give to a child. It is rated ages 8 and up. Yeah, if you want a cute dog manga, that's also comedy and like nothing sad happens. At least in this first volume, and I don't think, then I would highly recommend this one because it was very good. Definitely a high recommendation for me for anyone who wants to read cute, funny dog antics. Next up, I read that one on the 5th, 6th. I read that one on the 6th. I also read this one on the 6th. I think I read these two on the same day. Well, next up I have My Girlfriend's Child Volume 1. This is a new shoujo manga by Mamoru Aoi. Just recently came out. It's about a teenage couple, and they're intimate with each other, and the girl, Sashi, ends up pregnant. And it's about her discovering the pregnancy and like going through all the emotions because she's like still like a young girl. I think she's like 16. She's still in high school. She's wondering what to do with the baby. She's like going through all like the emotions you would expect a teenager to go through if they got pregnant unexpectedly. So yeah, it's about a teenage girl and her boyfriend dealing with an unexpected pregnancy that they weren't planning for and weren't ready for, and basically all the emotions that come along with that. This was a very good first volume. I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to be picking up more. This is a great manga. It's so good, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. And if you're interested in something a little bit like different than just your like typical high school romance, then definitely give this one a go. It's very good. I think I gave this first volume an 8. I don't usually rate series based off just 1 or 2 volumes, but this one's definitely an 8. I can tell I'm going to really love it. And this next series, again, I don't usually rate stuff based off the first couple of volumes, but I gave this a 9. This is my favourite read of the month. It's probably one of my favourite reads of the year so far. And that's Don't Call It Mystery Omnibus 1 and 2. I absolutely adored this a lot. This is a josei series. It's a mystery series that follows Totino, who is this guy on the front with the puffy afro hair. And he basically keeps getting caught up in mysteries that have most of the time have nothing to do with him. The first one did a bit. And then he has to kind of solve them, but each mystery is kind of... This volume contains like 3 and a bit mysteries, because they started a 4th one, but it's only like the very beginning. But I have heard that mystery, that arc, is a very good one, and so I am definitely looking forward to 3 and 4. But yeah, Totino is making curry one day when the priest come to his door and accuse him of murder. They say this person has died. There was a witness. The witness said it was him. So he's taken down at the priest station, and then he's sitting there and he's talking to the priest and like trying to clear his name and also figure out what actually went on. And yeah, Totino is a great main character. He's fantastic. I'd say this is awesome. I highly enjoyed it a lot. It's Yumi Tamura, same author as Basara and Seven Seeds, which I really wish that they would release that series in English someday. It even mentions it on the back cover. I'm one of the few people who really loved the Seven Seeds anime, and I would just love to read the manga too, but I can't unless they print it in English. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Yumi Tamura's art style, which is why I couldn't give this series a 10. I gave it a 9. It has grown on me since I first read Basara, but it's still not my favourite art style. Like, I don't hate it, it's just definitely not a favourite. But yeah, the story makes up for it. The story's excellent. I love this so much. I like the mysteries. I like how he solves the mysteries, how he just sits and like talks to people and like kind of gives them kind of counselor sessions, kind of. Yeah, I really love this, and if you haven't checked this one out yet, I would highly recommend it. I need as many people to read this as possible, so there's a higher chance of us getting Seven Seeds in English. Next up, on the 9th, I read My Love Mixed Up Volume 7. It continues to be a cute high school BL. I really like the chapter when, what's his face? Not Aoki, Aoki's friend, Akon, went to Hashimoto's house and met her parents. I like that chapter, that one was fun. And then, obviously, Aoki and, what's his name? I'm terrible with names. Ida go to Kyoto and they stay at, like, an inn. And those chapters were quite funny as well, yeah. Again, I really like this series. This was another cute, fun volume, and I look forward to the final 2 because the series finishes in 9 volumes. So yeah, it's a good one. I gave it I think I gave that volume an 8. I'm not sure. Next up, I read on the 10th of this month, I read Imakoi Volume 5. I gave this one a 7. Again, there's not much I can really say about this one. It's a high school romance slice of life. We follow this girl and this guy and their relationship and just things that happen. There's not a lot of drama in this series, like misunderstandings and stuff like that are cleared up quite quickly because they actually communicate with each other. So it's more like just a fluffy high school romance with not a lot of drama involved in this one. So I don't really have much to say about it, but it is good. It is cute. I enjoy it. Next up, I have on the 11th, I read Junji Ito's Tombs. I think I also gave this one a 7. This is one of the better collections of short stories. Where's the story list? Yeah. This is the stories that are contained. We have Tombs, Clubhouse, Sub Girl, The Window Next Door, Wash to Shore, The Strange Tale of the Tunnel, Bond Statue, Floaters, and The Buddy Story of Shiro Suna. I really like Tombs. I like that episode of the anime, and then The Window Next Door, The Strange Tale of the Tunnel. What was Floaters again? I don't remember what Floaters was. I remember the Bond Statue one was a bit strange. Oh yes, I remember what Floaters is now. Floaters was it? I enjoyed the Floaters one, and then the last story as well. I like the last story about the town. The doctor moves to the town. But yeah, this is if you like Junji Ito or you like horror, this is a this one's a good collection. I'd say my favourite story in here was probably Tombs, and maybe I quite like the last one as well. So yeah, it's another good collection of short stories by Junji Ito. Next, I read on the 12th, I read The Haunted Bookstore Volume 1. This is a josei that's based off a light novel. Now, I haven't read the original light novel, but I assume the pacing is probably better than it is in this first volume of the manga, because I don't think the pacing in here was that great. It felt like things were going a bit too fast, and obviously the light novel has more time and more pages and words to be able to move the story along at a better pace and stuff like that. So this wasn't the best thing I've read, but it wasn't the worst. I enjoyed the supernatural aspects of it, and I quite like the characters, but I think I might switch over to the light novel with this one to see what the first volume of that one's like, to see if the pacing's better, which it probably is, and maybe I'll try volume 2 with the manga and see if like the pacing improves a bit. But yeah, it was decent. I gave it a 6, and I do want to obviously continue with. I quite like the story and the characters. I had a bit of an issue with the pacing, so I will try the light novel for this one. Next up, I read on the 13th. I read Snow Fairy. This is a BL from Tokyopop. This is a really cute one. I really love this cover. This cover is so nice. And then with the little, I think the long-tailed tits on the back. Yeah, the art in this one's also very nice. I love the art. This one follows I think he's a farmer. He lives out in like Hokkaido, and this wildlife photographer has come to Hokkaido to take a picture of what he calls snow fairies. And whilst he's in Hokkaido, he goes to stay in this guy's house because the car he was renting like got covered in snow and stuff. So yeah, they start living together, and they live together all throughout the winter months, whilst he's looking for this bird to take pictures of, and obviously throughout that time they start to fall for each other. And I like the photography aspect of this as well. I liked all the like pictures they took and the animals. Yeah, this one was very good. It's only a one-shot too. If you want a nice one-shot BL, this one's not explicit. This is a good one that I would recommend. It's just one done, very cute, very nice art, very good story as well. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I thought it was excellent, and I gave it an 8. Next up, I read on the 14th of this month. I actually didn't miss any days for reading this month. I read Children of the Whales Volume 21. Again, this series has excellent art. This is probably one of my favourite arts in any series. And I love the covers as well, the hands. If you've watched my videos before, you know how much I like the hands in Children of the Whales, especially on the covers. So yeah, it's not really a lot I can talk about in this volume because this is a nice back cover, isn't it? There's a lot of spoilers. Children of the Whales is like, it's a great fantasy shoujo like series. It's also got a bit of mystery to it as well, and the world's good. I like the sand sea and all the like the big boats and the way that they're all drawn. And can I find? I don't know if I can find a page in this as a show that is not too spoilery, because Children of the Whales has a lot of like things going on, a lot of characters. There's a lot of characters doing different things with different plans, and a lot of mystery stuff and mysterious creatures and what the hell is going on moments, and there's a lot to spoil basically. And I want to show like some art without. Okay, this page seems like they're just fighting. A lot of like, there's a lot going on in this series, and there's a lot to spoil, so I can't really talk about it. This is like volume 21. We're quite far into the series. The series is only 23 volumes. It's coming to an end soon, so yeah. Just know the series is very good if you want like a fantasy mystery shoujo series with fantastic art. Highly recommend this one. It's very good. It can get a little bit confusing and complicated at times, but not too much. Next on the I gave that an 8, by the way. Next on the 15th and the 16th, it took me a couple of days to read this one. It's Why Raeliana Ended Up at the Duke's Mansion, Volume 1. Now this is a manhwa. It's based off a webtoon. It's in full colour. Well, this is a physical release of the webtoon. The webtoon itself is based off of a novel. But I think more people know it for the webtoon than they do it for the novel. It got a anime recently, which I just recently finished watching that with my sister, and she was extremely happy to learn that this guy here, Noah, was voiced by Ian Sinclair, who is her absolute favourite voice actor ever. Yeah, this is an isekai. I don't usually go for isekai, they're not my favourite, especially not that fond of villainess isekai, but this one's not a villainess isekai. This one follows a girl called Yunha, who gets pushed off the top of a building after learning she's been accepted into college, and she reawakens as Raeliana in the world of a novel that she's recently read. But Raeliana is not the heroine of this novel. She is a side character who dies in the beginning chapters of the novel to prompt the main heroine, Beatrice, to come home and solve the mystery of her death, and also meet up with Noah, who is the main male lead in the novel. The Raeliana doesn't want to die a second time, so she comes up with this plan, because how she dies in the novel is that she's poisoned by her fiance. So she comes up with this plan to get rid of her fiance by pretending to be with Noah. So she pretends that they're engaged, and she ends up moving into his mansion, hence the title, in order to avoid death by her fiance poisoning her. Yeah, this is a decent one. I liked it. I liked the anime too. Although I do think this one does get better the further it goes in. Like the webtoons, I have read further in the webtoon than I have the physical. And the webtoon, I think it gets better around about, they call them seasons, and I think it starts to get very good around about season 2 or 3. Like, the first season of the webtoon was not my favourite part. I did start to like it more the further along it got. But the anime obviously only covers the first season of the webtoon. I'm not saying I didn't like the first season, because I did, but I started liking it more the further in it got throughout the webtoon seasons. Yeah, I do like this one. I enjoy it more. I think there's 3 volumes out physically. I don't know how many seasons we're up to in the physical release yet, but I'm looking forward to the parts when it gets to those later seasons. Next on the 17th, I read Boy's Abyss, and this is a very dark seinen series about a boy in this small town who basically doesn't have a very good life. He has a grandma with dementia and a mum who's constantly exhausted from having to look after her, as well as his brother, who is an abusive shut-in, who's like constantly abusing his mother. And he refuses to ever leave his room. And this boy he has this childhood friend who's bullying him and using him as like a servant. Forces him to buy cigarettes for him and stuff. So his family life's not good. His friends are bullying him. He has this one good friend. I've forgotten her name, but this girl here, he's good friends with her, and she's actually nice to him. So yeah, and this girl introduces him to this idol. I've forgotten what the idol's called. But she introduces him to Nagi, this idol. And one day it's announced that Nagi will be taking a break from her career, and they don't know why. And then she suddenly turns up working at a convenience store in this town, and like they meet, and she starts like talking with him and getting to know him, and like starting to like read him into things he just doesn't necessarily be doing or wants to do. So that this is a very dark story. If you don't like stories with dark themes, if you like, you should probably avoid this one. It's very heavy. There's a lot of like mentions of suicide and abuse and like sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, suicide, and just everything basically. So if you don't like manga with those types of themes, you should probably avoid this one. But I really like dark series and I quite enjoyed this one, and I'll definitely be keeping up with it to see where the series goes. I think I gave it a 7. Next up, on the 18th, I read The King's Beast, Volume 10. This is another good series. Like, I loved Dawn of the Arcana, and this is a spin-off of that, and I'm really enjoying this one too. Although this one does get a bit more smutty than Dawn of the Arcana. Dawn of the Arcana was clean. I wasn't expecting some of the scenes that happened in this volume. Like, it's nothing explicit. You don't see any like very nudity, but it got a bit like heated at times, and I wasn't expecting it from this series. But yeah, I can't say anything about this volume without spoiling it, because this is 10 volumes in, and things have happened in the previous few volumes that if I mentioned to be able to give this volume context, it would be massive spoilers. So yeah, I love this series, and I really like this volume too. And I'm looking forward to seeing where things go next. Next up, I read on the 19th, I read 2 volumes actually. The first one I read was Something's Wrong with This, Volume 14. I love these so much, and they don't take me very long to read because I'm just like zooming through them because they're that good, and like I need to know. Like the next volume, Volume 15, I do have it. I haven't read it yet, but that's the one where you find out the truth. And I'm looking forward to it because these volumes keep ending on cliffhangers. And you just need the next one. You read one of these and you just need the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. Because cliffhangers everywhere. Volume 16 is going to be the final volume of the main story, but then we have 17, 18, and 19, which are like a short continuation. But yeah, I love Something's Wrong with Us. It's a josei, there's mystery, there's suspense, there's like romance, some steaminess. There's also the sweet making with the they make this traditional Japanese sweets, and obviously the scheming and everything, and it's so good. This series is so good. This series is in like my top 15, possibly even my top 10. I like it that much, and I'm looking forward to reading volume 15, getting to know what's actually going on, and then continuing past that too. Yeah, this is an excellent series. And on the same day, I gave that a 9, 8, something like that. Next, on the same day, I also read Baka, Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. These movies super slow. I think it's been 2 years since we last got a volume of this. I have seen the anime, and I remember the hot spring storyline from the anime, but there was some parts at the end which I don't think were included in the anime because I don't remember those parts. But yeah, this is a slice of life fantasy shoujo about a girl who, in order to pay off her grandfather's debts, has to marry this ogre from the demon world who is like runs this inn called Tenjin-ya, but she doesn't want to marry him, so instead she opens a restaurant and starts paying off the debt by working in the restaurant because she loves food and cooking. And it is a good series, but we don't get volumes very often, so I would recommend the anime for this one. And then, like, if you enjoy the anime, maybe start picking up the manga, but it'll be a while before the manga gets to the point where the anime ended, and I would really like if they released the light novels to this in English, because the light novels have finished, so they do have an end. I just don't know if we'll ever see them in English. And on the 20th, we're getting closer to the end now, there's not too many left. On the 20th, I read Tsubaki Charonu Planet Volume 3. I really enjoy this series. It is an age gap. If you're not into age gaps, probably don't read this one. It is quite a big age gap as well. She's 16, he's 28. But I don't mind age gaps, they don't bother me. As long as the younger characters at least 16, the age gaps don't bother me. So yeah, she moves into his house and to become his screener after her father goes into debt and has to go away on a fishing boat to earn back some money. And she's living with him as a screener. Yeah, I do enjoy this one. It's good. It's high school romance. Age gap. Yeah, I enjoy it. I gave this an 8, I think. I think I gave Kakuyo a 7, if I forgot to mention that. Then I read Volume 10 of Mao by Rumiko Takahashi. Obviously it's a action like historical series because she's gone back in time to like the Taisho era, and it's like Inuyasha in the Taisho era, only not with demons, with like sorcerers and mages and like what are they, omniojis instead. Yeah, it's a good series. In this storyline there was some, I think we finished off the storyline from the previous volume as well as starting up some more. So yeah, I gave this a 7, I think. Next up, I read on the 22nd, I read Robosek 9, another high school romance. I enjoy this one a lot. I love Eri, she's such a great main character. I love her dirty mind. And yeah, we're coming to an end with this one too. This is 12 volumes in total, and yeah, if you want a high school romance with a lot of comedy that's very funny and has a great main character, this one's fantastic. I'm so glad we got this one in print. It's very good. It's obviously definitely a favourite again. It's volume 9, I can't say too much about it, but there's like a contest in this one for that Ome gets entered into, and there's some other stuff going on, and yeah, I gave it an 8. Next up, on the 23rd and the 24th, again it took me a couple of days to read this one. It is cut over criteria. This is a office romance BL about, they work in software engineering, I think, and they do bug testing and stuff like that. This one was okay. I think I gave it a 5 or 6. But yeah, it was alright. We have this guy who falls for this guy. He's like the new hire at the office, and he's like one of the guys in charge, and he falls for him and asks if he can date him, and he's like, well, this must be some sort of bug in the system. How could this guy possibly like me? And he said, well, maybe if I like date him on a trial basis, I'll find out and be able to fix the bug. And so they start dating, but then he falls for him, and yeah, a little bit of drama in the middle about another guy, and then that's basically it. It was alright. It wasn't the best thing I've ever read, but it was readable. It's nowhere near as good as Snow Fairy. Next, I read on the 25th, The Dragon King's Imperial Wrath Volume 1. I was unsure about this one. Like, it just seemed to be like insta-love. I'm not the biggest fan of insta-love, where like one character looks at another and it's like, oh, I love you now. I prefer the romance to have more of a development and be like, take a while before the couple actually get experience with each other and starts dating, rather than just looking at each other and like, oh, I love you now. And this one was kind of like that, because he's like she is like his fated mate. He's from this clan, the Dragon Clan. This world has like zodiac clans, and he invites princesses from every clan to come to the palace so he can pick a wife, and he finds out the Rat Princess, who is from the weakest clan in the kingdom, is his fated mate. So like he's instantly in love with her when he first sees her. She hasn't fallen for him yet though. But this first volume was mainly world building. It was mainly explaining the clans and explaining the world and explaining like what fated mates are and like about the Dragon Clan. And so yeah, I will continue this for another couple of volumes to see how it goes, because again, this first volume was mainly just set up, and I think we're going to get more into the story and get to know the characters a bit more as the volumes continue on. But it's not my favourite thing I've read, and I'll see what I said. I'll see how it goes, and if I'm not keen on the next couple of volumes, I'll probably just drop this one. But it's okay. As I say, this was just set up. It might improve a lot more as the series goes on. I'm not sure, but I think this might be based off a light novel, but I'm not 100% sure. It might not be. This is also very heavy and the paper's very white. Yeah, the art was alright. I didn't mind the art. Next I read on the 26th and the 27th. I don't know what I was doing that day, but it took me 2 days to read this. It's Wolfgang Black Prince, and I know a lot of people hate this one because they think it's problematic, and it is problematic, but that doesn't stop me from liking it because I enjoyed the anime for this one, and I enjoyed the manga just as much. Like, some of the chapters I remember from the anime, some I don't, because it's not that they weren't in the anime, it's just that it's been a while since I watched it. But yeah, it's the same author as Imakoi, but don't expect this to be like Imakoi because it's not. We have Erica, and she's got these 2 friends, and she's constantly talking about this made-up boyfriend who she's pretending to have to her 2 friends in order to, like, fit in. And their friends start to get suspicious because they've never seen this guy. There's never been any pictures of him. So in order to stop them finding out the truth that she's made this guy up and he doesn't exist, she goes up to a random guy on the street, this guy here, Kyoka, and just takes his picture. And then she goes back to her friends and shows the picture and is like, oh yeah, this is my boyfriend, he does exist. But then she finds out Kyoko actually goes to her school. And she doesn't want him to blab and make it so her friends realise she's lying. So they kind of make a deal with each other where Kyoko's like, you have to be my dog and do everything I say, and then I won't reveal your secret and I'll pretend to be your boyfriend. So that's what happens, and she becomes Kyoko's dog. He doesn't tell her to do anything too bad. He's just like, get me some drinks from the vending machine. Like, do this, like, carry my bag. Do my homework, stuff like that. He's not telling her to do, like, anything terrible, like get naked in front of him. Or run around the school with her boobs hanging out or anything like that. And he's not touching her inappropriately. He's just basically having her do, like, his chores stuff like that. And sometimes he'll have her, like, bark. But yeah, I do like this one despite the problematic elements to it. And I'm definitely be continuing it. But if you don't like the sound of that type of story, that's fine, just stay away from it. But I actually don't mind. Next up we have Alice in Borderland 5, and this is a 2-in-1 which I read over the 28th and the 29th. Yeah, we're in season 2 material for the live action now, so this is, if you've watched the live action, you'll know what game this is. It's the first game of season 2 with Kuma, who is like, I won't say because that'll be a spoiler, but yeah, this contains that game plus a couple of side stories. The first side story, it wasn't included in the live action, and it is Chishia's first game he ever played after first arriving in Borderland. I won't say what the game is, but it wasn't my favourite game, that one. And the second side story, if you've watched the live action, you will know what it is, and it's, all I'll say is it's the one with the high school girl in the arena. So I don't really spoil anything. But yeah, they're the games included in this one. So like the King of Clubs, the 6 Diamonds, and then the 7 of Spades. So yeah, I really like Alice in Borderland. I do actually prefer the live action over the manga. I just thought it was better. I do really like the manga too, though. It's still very good. I don't know why Anne's on the cover of this volume, because she was not even in either of these 2 volumes, so I don't know why they put her on the cover. It probably would have been better if they put the high school girl on the cover from the arena game, because she was in this volume, and Anne never appeared in this volume at all. So yeah, I don't know why she's on the cover. But yeah, I really like Alice in Borderland, and the games were interesting. As I say, same as they were in the live action, except for the Chisha one, which that game was okay. And the last thing, don't fall over. The last thing I read this month on the 30th was another BL called Midnight Rain. I gave Alison Borderland an 8, by the way. And this is a BL about two like men. I think they're living in America. It doesn't seem like they're in Japan. But the two older guys, I think they're probably in like their 30s. And they meet in a laundromat when one of them is running away from like people who are trying to stab him. And they this guy patches them up, and then a couple of days later he hears a knock at the door. He opens the door and it's the dude, and he's been stabbed, and he collapses on his floor, and he again helps him out, and he starts like living with him, and then some stuff happens where we reveal stuff about his past and his debt, because he's in debt, and you find out why he's in debt. And I gave this one a 6. I thought it was okay, but nothing special. I thought this one was slightly better than Cut Over Criteria, but again, I didn't think it was anything special. It was just okay. It was just decent. I like the fact that the guys in this one are different to what you'd usually see in a BL. Because usually they're all like more like pretty high school boys, or like guys in their 20s who look like they're in high school. But this one has men who actually look their age. Yeah, this one, I said it's alright. It's just nothing special. And that is everything I read for the month of June. And obviously I'm reading stuff for July now, and that will be in next month's reading log. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again for my next video, which will probably be a July haul sometime near the end of the month. So yeah, goodbye for now, until next time.